All right, cool. Now, okay, so this is his back. That's the side of his head. So we're not even going to see anything. We're just going to see, like maybe some weird helmet, and then maybe just an indication of his cheekbone right here, right? The bottom of his ear. Yeah, and remember this is a super weird view, but it's true. You don't always see people. You don't always see people from one direction. Like people are multidimensional. So and also we're planning on making this black. So this is just a feature of the drawing. It's not the whole drawing. And then we can kind of beef out what we've done here. But I think it's important to see that, just with your limited tool chest, you can do a figure. Why not? It's not perfect anatomy, but you can make it exist in real space and have a sense of what's happening in the direction of it. All right, so now we're going to move on to values. And remember from our thumbnails, this is going to be light. This is going to be middle, and this is going to be really dark. So, okay, so the object of the game here is just being slow. Just kind of go carefully, because it's sort of hard to take out values. And remember, we want to have a sense of light, like that these are differently lit. And we do want to have a sense where the whole thing could have white in it. See how I'm painting outside the boundary of my illustration? I love that. That's the best. All right. Now this atmospheric dome, maybe we don't get too much detail in it, but we'll decide that later. The ship, we're going to try to include the ship in the medium value. So let's just testing out that medium value. It's a little too dark. And gosh, if we just end up, it doesn't matter too much. Like the funkiness of the city streets will really help us. It's still too dark. Just being careful. But then just including things in the value. We have this value. And this value for the town, so just letting everything in the town be of that value. And then little figure. I have a separate piece of paper here so that I can try to modulate and keep it medium. This might be a really great place for charcoal and stuff like that too. Okay, cool. With that. Okay, now the lightsaber can be the brightest point on the painting. That would be cool. Hopefully we can erase out that pencil and get back to that. Okay. And then next we are trying to get to the ship. I had this thing a while ago where I always just wanted to draw with brown inks, and I have a bunch of it. But I don't know if it's the best, but I just kind of like the color. All right, so taking a step back and just evaluating the tones, seeing if we legitimately have different ones going. And also, like, look, if you find that, if you're at this point, you're like, the ink is ruining my drawing. This is the time for you to innovate, maybe you can create value with charcoal, or bring in some of those cool other textures you've been working on, right? There's a million ways to do it. Okay, but I'm just trying to tone the whole thing so that I can get to my details. Right, this is looking pretty cool. I'll keep the light there where it is. And now, yep, that's getting dark. That's looking good. Maybe give it a little bit background there. It just feels atmospheric. It feels good. Some weird smoke rising up over here. And now I'm going to go for this part. Okay, so I just want this to be black. And I'm not trying to have that anxiety about the bottom of the page, because this is something that I would cut down, right? I think it's really critical not to. Because otherwise you'll draw that line. See how I did that too? You do not want to do that. You want everything to be natural, and the edge of the picture to be invisible, right? That's purposefully why we did that. Okay, so a sense of the rocks within this dark value, a sense of that cape. See what I mean? The details just don't matter. Cool. Now, see what I mean? It's like more important in this illustration for it to feel capey. Like it kind of, okay, that feels like a cape. Cool. Done. Then hair. All it has to do is have a feeling of hair. It's just like wild and out of control too. Once you place stuff correctly, then you don't have to do details. That's a mistake people make, is they think like, I have to, I'm not good at getting the details right. What you need to get good at is throwing out details, right? So I'm doing the minimum possible and knowing that I can still make a human figure. From the back, I've just had this one curve, right? That's what a face looks like from the back. And I'm not even drawing it that good. And these are just details, if you ended up with like just the boxes and you couldn't round it out into anything figural, it's totally fine. Totally fine. Right? It's just that sense of the elbow. Those little hints are so much more powerful than kind of like this neurotic sense of detail, right? And I'm not intending to leave him white. He has to join the rest of the value squad here. All right, so he has to, but I do want to have those little indications so you can kind of work out the direction that he's looking. Cool, right? So this is pretty good. It's a little too liquidy. You see what I mean? How the geometry matters more. The geometry matters more than anything, right? It matters more than detail. It matters more than anatomy. And what's beautiful about it is that you can always step back to it. You can always say like if you want to draw a comic or something, you could say, I don't want to learn how to draw animals or people yet. I just want to make talking blocks. That would be a great comic. Cool. So I have a really good sense of it. The values are really working. And now I'm ready to start seeing it as having detail. And I'm just going to indulge in this figure just a little bit. And maybe like show some elements here. Cool, right? But don't overdo it. Like this, as with almost all drawing, it's mostly actually about position. It's not really about anything else. So this is mostly right. That's mostly right, and I don't want to labor it. Okay, so now I'm ready for some details. And if there's one thing I can tell you is just, let yourself be totally free with details. Let's see. I'm just going to get some thinner pens. It's really nice. And I really need that to dry because I can't smudge that guy. He's the point of the whole thing. Okay, so maybe I'm gonna just take a break and wait for all those values to dry. Okay, cool. So now this, it's just playful now, right? Like go and find now you can add detail, and the detail, there's no way for it to kind of break the reality of what you've set up, right? So any kind of armor that I draw on him or whatever, it's all going to work because the scene is already there. And it's all just subtle. There's no wrong way to do it. The value blocking has just kind of given you everything. And there's also that sense of, of restraint, of not, there's not much to be seen here. There's not much you can draw. You know what I mean? As you add stuff, though, it just gets awesome. I'm trying to keep this line really light, obviously, because I want it to seem like it's glowing. And if I have a good enough eraser, I'll be able to take out that pencil. Okay, now also you can think of the light. All right, so the light is coming from here, right? So the light is up here. So that means that things turned away from the light. Well, this all has to be the same value, but you can sort of make different faces change in value, right? Like I might add some hatching. And the other thing about this kind of environment is everything is just bouncing around anyways. So you don't need to think too much about it. That's why it's, you know, kind of this nice ramshackle world. You can just explore the things that you made earlier and, you know, find those little values. Ah, looks so good. It's so cool. Some little textures here. All right, more details. You can go back. You can go back to the brush and add in more, and bring out your textures like these little cobbles. Right? Obviously, so see this isn't looking right. It looks like it's floating, and that's because, you know, it casts a shadow somewhere. So, you know, just keep working through the logic of it. You know, shadows and cobblestones. And these lines are all nice and organic. But because of the tone, it'll just all remain the same color no matter what. Let's get the street to be a little bit of a darker color.